watching us. They know every move that we're making.
They knew everything about us.
This is my hospital bed.
Me too. They made these rooms for us.
Have you ever seen things that weren't there before?
I am not imagining this.
Surviving is a choice.
I want out. Let me out of here. That's why they chose us.
And they all look just the same.
Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell and this is my review of Escape Room. Now for those who are not aware, this is the first horror film of 2019 and it is basically Saw 5 minus like the blood and gore effects of the R rating and the jigsaw slash detective elements of Saw 5, because basically the premise of this movie is that we have these 6 strangers that all end up in this escape room situation that have to work together to find their way out of the multiple rooms while trying to survive them. That's basically what the premise was for Saw 5, except you had 5 strangers and they're basically trying not to get killed by Saw or Jigsaw's traps. And the escape rooms themselves are actually pretty clever. I really enjoyed seeing how they all played out, how they all connected to the characters themselves. For example, you have one room which is like a cabin and it has 9 reindeer heads on the wall, and it has this connection to kind of the Santa Claus song. And yeah, it has connection to one of the characters, and it just has this really neat way of playing out, and it allows you to kind of figure out the traps while the characters on screen are figuring them out, and it just has that really neat premise to it. You have to suspend your belief in reality to an extent because they have just these different traps which don't make a ton of sense in regards to them all just being in this huge building, because you basically have one which is like this big snowy area which is like 30 degrees and just dropping in temperature, and so you just kind of got to wonder how that's all happening, and it's just this giant lake beneath them and everything like that, and it's just weird. It's cool, but it's weird. And there's one where the floor is dropping out from beneath people because the room's upside down, and then again, it's a cool design, but when you go back and think about it, it's just kind of strange how all this is supposed to work, but that's kind of how these movies work. The Saw films were kind of to that extent because you have to kind of suspend your belief that all these creations could have been created by one crippled old man. I also thought that the cast interacted well amongst each other. They all had really good chemistry. They all kind of brought something unique to the table, and while you kind of understood where the majority of them were coming from, I kind of wish we had gotten an introduction to all of them, because there's only 3 characters that we actually see backstories for, at least at first. We get to see flashes of people's backstories and histories throughout the film, but you only get an introduction to maybe 3 of these characters before the movie starts. And so I kind of wish we could have gotten that with all 6 characters. That said, this film does have some predictable moments in it, just things which you kind of can see coming. There's a character twist towards the end which was kind of obvious, I thought. And then there is kind of a strobe light-esque sequence towards the end of the movie, so if you have issues with flashing lights and things of that sort, just know that going into it and be prepared to turn away towards the last 20 minutes, something like that. And then there's just kind of some lazy writing as well, just especially towards the beginning. I noticed it just based, I don't know, on some conversations between a character and her professor. It just kind of made me cringe a little bit, but it's a PG-13 horror film in January, so I'm not going to expect greatness out of this. And then surprisingly, it does kind of step a sequel, which I didn't really expect. I don't know how well this one was expected to do by the makers or whatever, but I know that it doubled its budget opening weekend, and so if this thing is going to get a sequel, it's probably going to get a sequel based on that, and I believe that's doing well throughout this week. We'll see how it does this coming weekend. Overall, Escape Room, it's a perfectly fun time at the theater. I had a fun time watching it. I would say it's more of a thriller than a horror film personally, but that's just me. But yeah, it's fun. Again, if you've seen Saw 5 and you like that general premise and the idea of a group of people having to work together to survive different obstacles and rooms and setups and things, it's a fun time at the theater. I enjoyed it. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? What is your favorite escape situation-esque film? Mine is probably around Saw 5, because I can't think of another one off the top of my head. But let me know yours in the comments down below. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, merry people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.